I got a Mr. Nightmare, man. 3 Disturbing True Airbnb Horror Stories, Volume 2. I don't think I react to this one. If I did, no. I'm talking about the first one. I think I did, bro. Nah. I don't be remembering, bro. I ain't gonna. I be at the dead end going my search bar and type my own name on YouTube. Or go back on my chapter shit, see that if I posted, you know what I'm saying, the video. I don't know. I be forgetting if I posted or not. But anyway, shit, if you know that bitch started, that bitch already long. Motherfucker already long. I'm gonna get done with the video as fast as possible.
I rent out my South Carolina house on Airbnb whenever I'm not using it. It's a modest 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house by the beach. 2 of the bedrooms are guest rooms, which are accessible to the people renting it. The master bedroom I keep locked with my clothes and certain belongings in there. That room is for me, and I have to keep my stuff somewhere instead of lugging it back and forth every time I go down there. I have a regular lock and then a deadbolt lock on there, so no one's ever getting in there unless they chop the door down or break through the window. But also, it's not like I keep anything super expensive in there, mainly just clothing. This was early last spring. It was still chilly up in Massachusetts where I live most of the year. I wanted to take a drive down to my South Carolina house for the week. For the most part, I work remotely, so luckily I'm able to do this when I want to. Ordinarily, I'd have my usual cleaning lady come and clean the house after each guest leaves.
My haircut.
The cost of her service is baked into the price of the rental on Airbnb. But since I was going down right after the current renter would leave, I just pocketed the cleaning lady money and planned on going down to clean it myself. The last renter was a guy named Ramon. Through our messages, he told me he was renting with his fiancée and asked for good restaurants to eat at in the area. He seemed trustworthy. I always prefer to rent to couples or smaller groups of women as opposed to groups of young men, because they're usually the ones to come and get shit-faced and potentially damage the place. I started my drive very early in the morning. It was about a 16-hour drive.
And with that, I only like been with like one family Airbnb. I ain't never been to Airbnb one time, but it was connected to like in Kissimmee, Florida. It was connected to like other little houses and shit. So it was on like an apartment it was an Airbnb, but it was apartments type shit. That makes sense.
Stopping only for a quick bite and to use the bathroom. By the time I got to the house, it was about 10 o'clock at night. I went to unlock and open the front door first, before going back to my car to grab my bags and go inside. I was shot from driving. I didn't even bother checking the place out or anything for a mess. I just went straight to my bedroom door to unlock it. I collapsed into the bed without brushing my teeth or anything. For those that haven't done it, a 16-hour straight drive will absolutely kill you. I crawled under the covers, and I was out like a baby in a matter of minutes. You'd think I'd have slept through the night, but no, I woke up in a black room. The clock next to my bed read 11:30 p.m. I had only been asleep for a little more than an hour. Something woke me up. I grabbed my phone to check for any texts out of habit. Then I turned on the bedside lamp. I looked around the room, then got up and went out to the living room.
I ain't gonna lie, shit like that happen. I felt like Jesus waking you up, telling you somebody in the house. I ain't gonna lie, I'm just saying, like, got something to happen.
I took this moment to start analyzing the place. I didn't notice a single thing moved. Not a pillow, not a can of beer, nothing. I went to the bedrooms. Both were void of any people, though the covers on a bed in one of the rooms seemed to have been moved. So yes, they did come. I thought they may have been the cleanest couple to have ever stayed in my place. I have a camera set up on the front porch of the house. I never really think to check it unless a customer is giving me any kind of hard time, but I was curious. I opened the app to the camera system on my phone and went to the movement history. It picked up on a man entering the house via the code lock 3 days earlier. Just a man though, he had no woman with him. Strange. I checked for any other movement updates from then until the moment
We're out here on the streets showing people this financial app is legit. Hi, excuse me, miss, hello. Could you...
showed up, which it also caught on video, and there was nothing. I checked it over like 5 times. I suddenly got the chills. I went to the Airbnb app to message Ramon and ask if he checked out okay, even though it was late at night. I went to check the bedroom where I presumed he slept in. I started checking under the bed and in the closets. I was yanking the closet doors open as if I were ripping off a Band-Aid. Each time, I was greeted with an empty closet. I moved along to the second guest bedroom. Both twin beds in here were still neat and untouched. As I yanked open the last...
Bruh. I don't know if it's me. No, man.
Closet he could have been in, I saw that it was empty. I sat on one of the beds for a second to just stare at the conversation between Ramon and I. That's when I heard the master bedroom door click shut, quietly, in a way that a person would have done it, not a draft. I went out to the living room and looked at the master bedroom door. I said, "Ramon, are you still in here?" with a shake in my voice. No response. I could see the light was still on in the room through the bottom crack of the door. I got on all fours to look under the crack of the door, and I fell backwards when I saw 2 feet standing not far behind the door, maybe a couple feet away.
Ramon would have got hit with these red tips. I ain't going to tell you. Ramon would have got hit with these bitches. I promise you. He would have got hit with
Went to the knife holder in the kitchen planning to grab the biggest carving knife, and it was already taken. By this point, my only logical option was to leave the house and call 911. And that's what I did. I waited out front until the police showed up. Then as we went inside, there was Ramon, waiting in the living room, no knife in hand. He spoke in his Portuguese accent, acting all innocent, saying he just needed a place to stay for one more night, which was complete bullshit. He denied ever picking up the knife, which was conveniently placed back in the knife holder now. After 30 minutes of 2 police officers outside talking to Ramon and 2 inside talking to me, they actually let him go and told me I should contact Airbnb and try to work it out with them. And I was just shocked. I felt like the police didn't do their job.
Every story our motherfucker react to, the police don't do shit. Like, ain't no point of having them bitches around for nothing. They don't do shit. They just come, assist, and try to lock a motherfucker up. The motherfucker that actually need to be locked up.
After everyone left, I changed the lock code on the door, and I contacted Airbnb about what happened. Though I didn't receive payment for the extra day Ramon squatted in my house, they did apparently ban him from ever using the app again. It doesn't really feel like proper justice, though, when he was potentially waiting to stab me in my own house, in my own bedroom.
He can do your ass down bad. I ain't gonna lie to you, you know what? Why should do an ad? Oh.
I'm 26 years old, still living with my parents. I'm not content with my job, and I'm in a relationship that I'm not too sure about.
I know that.
To say I've been stressed would be a monumental understatement.
I know what you're going through, brother.
My mom and I were not getting along one week, and everyone was just bothering me. I wanted to escape for a weekend. I looked into little one-bedroom Airbnbs up in the mountains, and found one for cheap. It was in Troutdale, Virginia, a couple hours away from us. And based on the pictures, it was this nice, private, and peaceful-looking little place surrounded by woods. It was the fall, too, so the foliage was going to be beautiful. I told my parents I was going there for the weekend. My mom seemed overly happy about me leaving for the weekend. My girlfriend was more so just confused, finding it weird and suspicious that I was going away to some random cabin in the woods alone for a weekend. When Friday came, I packed a backpack full of clothes, toiletries, and my laptop.
I don't think I'm going to no cabin in no motherfucking woods by myself. That's the last place I'm going. That the fuck? Will I sit right in that room and be alone like a motherfucker before I go to a cabin by myself? Bitch, you is crazy. You asking to die.
And I headed out for the road.
Bitch, what?
It was around a 2.5-hour drive door to door.
I drive 2 hours
The area
away.
of Troutdale is very quiet and scenic.
Hold on. I drive 2 hours a motherfucking way before I go to a cabin in the woods by myself with bears and shit and motherfucker that be hunting and shit and what the fuck? I drive 3 hours away to go to goddamn Kissimmee, Florida. Kissimmee, whatever that shit called. Yeah, Kissimmee. Y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Back home. I needed a nice weekend just to spend to myself. I was driving up a gravel road and my GPS told me I arrived. I saw an opening in the trees next to the road. The instructions the owner of the Airbnb gave me were to cut through this opening onto the grass and up the little hill. I did exactly this, and there I saw the cute little house sitting at the top of the hill. The second I stepped out of the car, I inhaled the fresh rural air, instantly feeling happy I did this.
Imagine.
The owner told me...
Now that look good. That look good in the daytime. Nighttime, boy, I know that shit looks scary than a motherfucker. That shit look good right here, dog. That shit look good. Wait till nighttime. Ain't no lights around that bitch, ain't no. Come on, it sounds like some bullshit finna happen. I can feel it.
Where to find the key to the front door.
I can
I
feel
let
it.
myself in and checked the place out. It was a nice cozy living room, small kitchen, bathroom, and one loft bedroom that you had to climb a ladder-like stairway to get up into. And there was a circular window over the bed. Lots of light got into the house, which was nice. I went out to walk some of the trails the owner told me about a 5-minute drive away.
I ain't going no trail.
On the drive back to the house afterwards, I noticed these two guys walking down the gravel road. And as my car was passing, they literally stopped in their tracks to turn and look at me as I passed. I waved and smiled, thinking they were friendly locals, but they didn't wave back. It was completely off-putting. They looked at me as if my driving down the road...
I would have been on some wrong turn shit. Ain't no way they stopped and looked at you like you fucking stupid. On your road. That's some strangers type shit. And you gonna sit your ass right there and...
It was a crime. I didn't look back. I turned into the entrance of the property and back up the hill. I started reading one of the books I brought with me in the living room with the fireplace going. It was incredibly cozy. The sun was on its way down, and after reading a chapter of my book, I realized I was getting hungry. I went outside to my car, about to drive to the nearest Walmart, when I noticed two men kind of running into the woods down the hill by the entrance of the property, probably in response to seeing me come outside. I wondered if it was those two guys from the road earlier. It was incredibly strange. I suddenly decided to take my laptop and backpack with me in the car while I was gone, just to be safe.
Bitch, I would have been going that same night. That bitch talking about he backpack, bitch. I would have got my money back, one way or another. Yo, he would have had to get my money back. Cause now I know it's some bullshit. I see these motherfuckers 2 times. And next time at nighttime, all of a sudden they wanna hide. I mean, man, some of these stories. Okay, hold on. I ain't gonna talk. Cause I hate when I be watching other reactors, and this is the reason I just started making videos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Start making videos in the first place. I got tired of motherfuckers just kept pausing the video and never let them say what they gotta say before they say it. That's why I made my own channel too. I be hating to watch other reactors. That shit be blowing.
Two guys from the road earlier. It was incredibly strange.
I gotta watch myself.
I suddenly decided to take my laptop and backpack with me in the car while I was gone, just to be safe. On the drive into town, I messaged the owner letting him know about this. He replied saying it's nothing to be alarmed about. There's a lot of teens in the area that walk around. So I dismissed it. I drove like 20 minutes to the closest Walmart.
I can't name every scary movie I done heard that in.
I picked up a few food items to hold me over. Some milk, granola bars, fruit, frozen dinners, bread, and cold cuts. By the time I got back to the Airbnb, it was completely pitch black out. There were no streetlights on these gravelly roads. And with no neighboring houses, truly the only light was from my headlights. It was creepy for sure. I pulled up to the hill to the little house. It was almost hard to find in the dark. I grabbed my backpack and the grocery bag and went up to the house in the dark, using my phone's flashlight to see. Once inside, I locked the door immediately. It was creepy out there. I ate real quick and went back to reading my book by the fire, and pretty soon the lights to the room suddenly cut out, and the only light in the entire house was from the fireplace. I tried flicking on anything electric, but the power was gone.
All they would have heard is click-clack. Click-clack. Anything that move ain't me, getting shot. Anything that ain't me, anything I see in my peripheral, and I see it and I hear it, and it coming up to me, getting shot. I don't care if they got a gun on me. They dying too. Only thing gonna stop me is a headshot. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but bitch, we gonna die together.
I went to message the owner again, who swiftly replied back to check the main breaker in the circuit box outside by the telephone pole near the back of the house.
What?
I didn't reply. There was no way in hell I was going out.
He got something to do with it. I was convinced. I wasn't convinced the first time, but after the second time, as he said he seen him, and he said possible college kids. He ain't said that the first time. Yeah, he got something to do with it, bro. I know.
There. I was already paranoid from earlier. And why would the power be randomly cut out anyway? Something was off. I heard a creak of the floorboard from the darkest corner of the room by the bathroom door. I looked over and saw this tall, looming figure in the doorway of the bathroom.
I would have
lit up
blown his
only by the
ass.
fireplace.
Die.
My worst fear had been realized. This was actually happening. A soft yet deep and disturbing voice told me to remain calm and give him everything I had. I was so scared I could barely speak. I said all I had was my laptop and some clothes. He told me to empty my wallet of
Hey,
all
boy
the
would have
money,
got.
which
Boy
I
would have
did.
got hit with one of these
He stood
bitches.
in the doorway. I still couldn't see his face. He told me to go into the kitchen and stay there.
He would have got. He would have got hit with this bitch right here.
I looked into the living room. My laptop, backpack, and money was all gone. I called 911 to see his face.
And as a grown man, you know what I'm saying? You said you going through shit with your relationship and all that. You know what I'm saying? No color, what matter, you know what I'm saying? No matter what color you wear, you know what I'm saying? This go for everybody, you feel me? Get y'all a motherfucking gun. You a big 26-year-old man and you gonna take your big grown ass out of town. They go, you know what I'm saying? Get a break, you know what I'm saying? You need a break. I ain't thinking you gonna need no weapons. Now, what if he would have got attacked by a bell? It would have been on Mr. Ball's story. If he would have got attacked by a bell or some shit. Instead, you ain't have no gun with you, man. If y'all, like, I don't want y'all coming to my channel just to watch me joking shit. I actually try to teach y'all shit. You feel me? And you, as a big 26-year-old, why the fuck you ain't got no gun? I know hella people that different races got all type of motherfucking gun. Different type of races. And you 26 ain't got no gun? It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I know some people don't believe in them too, though. Some people don't believe in them, you know. But, man, it's 2023, 2020. Hey, man, y'all gotta have something.
He told me to go into the kitchen and stay there.
Bitch play with me, though. Bitch gonna get hit with one of these, though. I should.
I looked into the living room. My laptop,
That's the first bullet
backpack,
in
and
the
money was all
motherfucker.
gone. I
Imagine
called
what the second
911
one is.
quietly to report a robbery. 20 minutes later, an officer arrived. I described the two guys I'd seen walking down the street earlier that day, assuming it was them working together on this. Basically, all the officer could tell me was that they'd be on the lookout for anyone matching those descriptions.
He on it too. He on it too. He on it too. I watch his trying something else and all that wrong turn and shit. I
messaged the owner to tell him what happened. And he was sympathetic at first, or so it seemed. He said I could go home the next day, but he didn't want to refund me for my horrible experience. A trip I thought would be a nice detox for a stressful point in my life.
Come on, Pookie, that's burn this motherfucker down. I'm on it in video. Hey, God.
Luckily, my laptop was only like $400, and I didn't pack any expensive clothing, but it was still the scariest experience of my life.
Look, like me, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I go by retaliation is a must. But your retaliation right there, cause you say you ain't see no gun. He just said, "Give me your stuff," and you gave it to him. It's crazy. Like, I say this all the time. People in Mr. Nightmare Stories is some dumb motherfuckers. I'm sorry. Like, I know some people don't know what to do in such situations, but god damn it, man, y'all watch enough movies, man. Y'all ought to know the tactics of being alive. Y'all play Call of Duty. Y'all know what. Y'all play games. Y'all know what it take to stay alive. But you can't do it in real life. It's crazy. That's crazy.
Small part of me that believes the Airbnb host may have something to do with it. I still have no idea how
I'm making y'all think now. Cause I'm making y'all think cause this shit real.
Get energized at Planet Fitness. Simply join through the free PF app for just $10 a month.
There's no way people are still managing their money with spreadsheets. Y'all need to download Rocket Money. You can see.
So a few years back, after some friends and I graduated high school, we celebrated in the White Mountains National Forest Reserve. We only lived 2 or so hours away, so it wasn't much of a hike. We all packed inside my friend Alexis's car. Also with us was my friend Rob, his girlfriend Stephanie, and our friend Kelly. Alexis's car was a Hyundai Accent, so a very small vehicle. We didn't pack much. We were headed to this Airbnb in Carroll, New Hampshire at the height of the summer. It was a gorgeous drive. Once we got to the house, it was just as depicted in the photos, only the pictures didn't include the shambling-looking shed next to the house. It seemed like it had seen better years. I probably could have knocked it down myself. Alexis joked around that maybe some old crazy guy lived in there, and that's why the place was so cheap. But we all laughed it off and unpacked our things. I'll be honest, I was really into Alexis, and I think she was into me, on account that she said we should share a bed. More so because the third bedroom had 2 doors leading.
He already done. I already know where the story from
To the outside, and had a perfect view of that old shed. So she didn't want to sleep there, and she wouldn't let me. We both put our things in the living room and made the pull-out couch our bed. Not much happened the first night. A little later, we all sat in the hot tub in the garage/rec room. Alexis sat next to me, and we faced the woods, while Rob and his girlfriend were opposite of us. Rob's girlfriend couldn't step completely into the water on account of the stitches she just got. Stephanie and I were always good friends, and carried on with stories and joked about high school, sipping on our potentially illegally acquired booze. Kelly, on the other hand, was changing and not with us. Ron kicked my leg from under the water and winked, seeing how close Alexis was getting to me, but that wasn't too much of a deal. We tried to plan out our next day, and talked about hiking to Mount Washington and the Flume Gorge. After a good soak, I eased into bed with Alexis, and we watched Rick and Morty for a while, until the clock struck 2 a.m. and we sat outside. The stargazing here was supposed to be amazing, and a bit later, Kelly tagged along with us. What happened next was hard to explain. In front of the house was this huge deck that we were sitting on. It was pitch black, and no cars were around. More or less, we were in the middle of nowhere. No one really understands true silence until you're away from cars or planes for that matter. The sky was brightly lit, purple, blue, full of stars. Kelly hushed me one time. Just a few feet away from the porch, she heard some crunching, as if something was approaching the deck. There was definitely something walking out there. I waved it off as a raccoon or fox, until the steps sounded heavy, and I looked at Alexis. The fear began to set in as I noticed her gaze was looking towards the old shed where the footsteps had began. Quickly, I ushered the girls into the cabin and locked all the doors. I tried to explain to them that it's still possibly an animal, especially if animals had taken over that old shed. Easily, both of them calmed down. Kelly walked back into her room, and I again laid down beside Alexis. The next morning, I woke up to Rob and his girlfriend cooking breakfast in the kitchen, which was just across the room from Alexis and I. We had a big day planned out, and we did quite a lot of hiking, with most of us forgetting what had transpired last night, other than Alexis.
Who forgetting that?
When we came back from hiking, Alexis suggested exploring the old shed that was beside the house. Now that it was daylight, nothing that bad could happen, right? And I'll be honest, I didn't want...
Nothing in daylight. You are like, just cause daylight, you are like you can't, nothing can't happen enough. Just cause the light outside don't mean it ain't dark inside. Fuck.
Too, but I didn't want Alexis to think I was a wuss. We opened the screen door, investigating the first room. There was an old, rickety rocking chair. Seemed it might break if I tried to sit in it. The next door had one of those brass doorknobs, but it was rusted and dented. I looked at Alexis before grabbing the door, and she groaned as she opened the door. There wasn't much to the room. The floor was dirt. There was dirt-caked windows and some trash on the floor. Alexis made a point that it smelt of cigarette smoke. It may have been the designated smoking spot in the Airbnb. We both shrugged it off and joined the others out back. Rob was starting a fire. Some typical conversation was going on. Rob poked fun at Alexis and I. The sun set, and I turned off the floodlight out back to make the ambience of our fire nicer. Some chuckles and stories are passed around, Rob and I boasting about our feats and whatnot. Then there grows a silence. That same crunching from last night is heard behind us, just against the tree line, except it was faster and headed in our direction. And just like that, there was a flash of green light lighting up the entirety of the backyard for just a moment. Whatever was running towards us halted, but my thoughts were ruptured by Stephanie's screams as she bolted towards the house. Behind us, a blood-curdling cry or yelp was heard, a deafening sound that at first we thought was a siren.
What the fuck is that?
I instantly stood up, yelling for everyone to get inside. Stephanie must have saw whatever it was that made that cry. In my bolt, I accidentally knocked over Kelly, who hadn't gathered the entire scene yet.
Kelly would have been
I turned around to help
fail
her.
fucking with me.
Rob was already halfway to the house. I ran to help Alexis gather our food items.
Hey.
Last thing we want...
Hey, y'all watch Scooby-Doo how they built the smoke up. Bitch, I would have been gone with Kelly, but Kelly would have been dead. Fucking with me, that bitch would have been
If it was a bear for them to stay
I'm
any
just
longer.
playing. I'm just playing.
After that, I rushed Alexis to the back door, where Rob was waiting for us with some kind of bear spray. I already at this point had my Bowie knife out.
What?
I commanded him to go in, but he yelled at me to go in because he's got the range. The two of us saw this black mass walking along the outskirts of our fire.
Oh shit.
We didn't stay long enough to find out what it was.
Yeah, I got bell spray?
After meeting the girls in the living room, we called the police immediately. The officer reported to the house.
I got
and
bell
looked all
spray
around
and a
with his
Bowie knife?
flashlight, finding nothing. He clarified to us that the flash was due to lightning striking a nearby power line or transformer. As for the thing, he said it was likely a fish or cat or something. But Stephanie said that she saw a man, hunched over, with a cloak or blanket hung over him. Least to say, we didn't stay the next night over.
I know y'all
The sheer paranoia of someone or something stalking us in the woods was reason enough. To say the least, we haven't returned to the mountains since. Who knows what's crawling around in those woods?
I'm saying though, that nigga said they had a Bowie knife and some bear spray. What the like I'm saying, bro? Like the last dude in the middle story, he ain't had nothing. Like I believe y'all people just be want to die on purpose, just to tell Mr. Nightmare where he could, you know what I'm saying, post y'all shit on Reddit for Mr. Nightmare can do it at this point. Y'all ain't doing nothing about it. Y'all obviously this shit. I ain't gonna say it's scripted. I ain't saying that. Could that be disrespecting Mr. Nightmare? But I'm saying, y'all just be wanting clout, bro. Ain't no way some of these stories should be going how they going. Like, as a man, if you by yourself, you know you need a gun. A real man, you know you need a gun. What the fuck a knife and bear spray gonna do to a motherfucker that trying to kill you? That's my fan if y'all hear something too. Anyway, that being said, see how motherfucker on that video, man. Let it ride, man.